Hello, everyone. Khasim Lockhart here once again, doing the December newsletter and AAC feature featuring Bill and Julie Min, who are Fordham grads, Fordham Law grads, and who are also siblings. Before we get into some questions about AAC, I would love to hear about Julie and Bill's story, where their career is at, and whatever they feel like they want to share with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having us today on this interview. It's actually a little bit different, speaking at the same time as my sister Julie. So I'm looking forward to this, and hopefully everyone else gets some laughs and knowledge and tidbits of our experiences together, both as siblings and also professionally. So I'm Bill Min. I'm a graduate of Fordham Law School, class of 1990. I'm currently the Executive Vice President and General Counsel for LexisNexis Risk Solutions, which is a information analytics and technology company based in metropolitan Atlanta area down in Georgia.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Min Chayette, and I'm Bill Min's younger sister. I graduated in 1998 from Fordham Law School, and I am a trust and estates attorney by training. And I worked in private practice in New York City and Connecticut, and then went in-house at Fiduciary Trust Company International, based in New York City. And I focus primarily, I'm a managing director there, and I focus on strategy and wealth planning for wealthy individuals and nonprofits and institutional development.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So, as this is an AAC focused newsletter and interview, I'd love to just hear from the both of you as to why AAC is important to you.
Sure, Kasim. I think for me, AAC provides an additional outlet to help share experiences, knowledge, and ideas with an important group of talented and successful group of Fordham alumni. It is one of several groups at Fordham that I've been involved with for a very, very long time, and it's one that I'm proud to continue to participate in.
And I'll just add, our family emigrated here from South Korea, and they were professionals, they're physicians, and they came without a community. So they had to build their community around them professionally and also on a personal level. So with that mindset, I think it's been really important for both my brother and I. We are two lawyers in an all doctor family. We have a brother who's a physician. So, we were going into a field where professionally where we didn't have a built-in network. And so the opportunity to join the AAC and to meet other attorneys of color and really to pass on some of our knowledge as mentors to the community has been especially rewarding on a personal and a professional level. I also think that it's enabled me to do some leadership roles and mentoring that on a very fast track that I don't think would have happened naturally if it weren't for an affinity group that was established in the Fordham community.
Yeah, yeah. And as a board member of AAC, I could tell you both that we are definitely grateful for your contributions to the community. Julie, you kind of touched upon this and you teed this up very well. My next question, has your sibling relationship shaped the way either of you approaches community building or leadership within Fordham Law or AAC?
Oh, I'll go first. So I would say yes. I mean, what's been really interesting for me is that I happen to have gone to the same undergrad college as our brother, to Haverford College. But then in terms of law school, I went to the same law school and graduate program as my brother Bill. And it wasn't intentional. It's just that it worked out because the communities of these two institutions were really um, similar to what we grew up with and how, what molded our way, our ethical leadership, our style of learning, right? So it's been really interesting because sometimes my brother will tell you that he forgets that I went to Fordham because we actually are 8 years apart in graduating from the law school, which is a significant amount of time. He's also more of a corporate lawyer, and I'm a trust and estates and tax person. So I would say that being the younger sibling, I've always looked up to my brother Bill, and we actually both took time off before law school. Also, we both pursued our masters in public policy administration, similar paths. But then how we've taken our Fordham law education, it's gone in opposite paths, but now both being in-house or companies, it's actually come back together, which has been really so nice. And then just in terms of the Fordham law community, Bill's been more engaged than I have been on a broader scale, on a national scale with Fordham. And I've seen him engage with members of the community, not just in New York, but all over when we go to our annual events. And it's really amazing to see how popular he is with the younger alumni. And that is something that I most recently shared with our mother when we were at a conference together in Denver for the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association. I was sitting in the front row, and after the panel was over, I couldn't even get to the stage because there were so many people who wanted to talk to my brother. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. I can confirm that he is indeed popular at the Fordham community. But Bill, same question to you.
Yeah, I think everything that my sister said is spot on. I guess let me just add though, my sister Julie, don't let her um, diminish her power. She is definitely a powerhouse. She's also someone who rarely says no when she's asked to take on a task or to help out. And, in many ways, our personalities are very different. Julie's much more approachable and she engages very naturally with everyone that she meets. I guess my nature is that I am a bit more standoffish, but where we do converge is when we're passionate about issues or things that we believe in, and helping to connect people with each other is one of those areas that I think both of us share and are passionate about. And this is probably why both of us continue to be involved with Fordham Law School long after we have graduated. With Fordham, if anyone ever sends me a message by LinkedIn, email, leave me a voicemail message, and they just tell me that they're from Fordham Law School, I will respond to every single individual. I mean that's for me is something that is very different from maybe how I react with some of the other folks who reach out to me and want to get on my calendar.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree to that sentiment as well. Um, you mentioned Fordham. We've talked about AAC. To the both of you, what's one word that comes to mind when you think of Fordham Law and the AAC?
You go first.
I think for me it's camaraderie, which I think is what distinguishes both Fordham Law School and AAC from many of the other organizations that are out there. Look, we go to law school, we choose law schools, we choose professions, we all want to be successful. But I think ultimately it's also the people who you have the opportunity to engage with both during law school and then after law school, and law students and people that you run across. When someone says that they went to Fordham, for me, that just opens up a whole different conversation, and it makes you feel as though you're all starting off on a different footing and a different level of comfort, and that you're willing to spend the time, effort, and resources sometimes to continue to engage. Somehow we have become a Fordham family, in addition to my sister, who went to the same law school as I did. My daughter also graduated from Gabelli Business School. So we are definitely well rooted in Fordham, without ever realizing that when I first decided to attend the school.
Oh, and the AAC. One word. What do you think, Bill?
I said camaraderie.
Oh,
I think that
camaraderie. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying. I didn't take notes. He has a photographic memory, so he doesn't have to take notes, but I have to take notes. So Fordham Law, to me, I think service is the one word, and I think that's our coin phrase, right? In service of others. Um, and I think it speaks volumes to even though we are on different ends of the spectrum in terms of how we approach law as a career, I think that it's definitely the thread that connects us is the idea of service. And for AAC, I would say mentorship is what it brings to mind for me. I would say if I had two words, I would say mentor or family, because that's the extension of family. As I said, we have a very small family, but that my husband jokes that my small but close knit group of friends, everybody is called an auntie, auntie somebody, auntie some, because all of our relatives essentially are in Korea. And we grew up with a very small nuclear family here, but in the same idea that Fordham, just like Bill said, if someone calls from Fordham, you pick up the phone. When I'm in business meetings and I've Googled the people I'm going to speak with and I see Fordham Law, you bet I mention that. As soon as I say my name, I say, "Oh, it's nice to see another Ram
Yeah.
in the room," and it's a little bit of a hidden, a warm embrace and a nice handshake to start the meeting off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the phrases that people use now to describe the Fordham family is the Ramily. So,
The
let's
family.
the
Yes, I
Ramily.
will use that.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's switch gears just slightly, still focusing on AAC though. So how has your involvement with the AAC and I guess the Fordham Law community as a whole benefited you personally and professionally? And have there been moments where you have supported each other through Fordham AAC related initiatives or events?
I guess maybe I'll start. One of the key reasons why I chose to attend Fordham Law was the strength of its alumni body. And I think that has definitely played out even when I first started working in New York City at my law firm. And then it continued to progress throughout my career. And I've encountered along the way many, many smart, skilled lawyers who have graduated from Fordham Law. And I think one of my favorite things that I used to do when I lived back up in the New York area was to purchase a table at the annual alumni luncheon. And I think my approach to that was I would actually invite law students to attend as my guests because I really wanted them to be introduced to the power and the depth of the Fordham Law Network. Um, Julie mentioned in passing that sometimes I forget that she attended the same law school as I did. I am guilty on occasion when someone drops out at the last minute, scratching my head, trying to figure out how am I going to fill that empty seat, and then the light bulb goes up, and I remember that my sister went to Fordham Law, so she's always been a good sport and stepped in at the last minute to fill the tables. And as she mentioned, I've also enjoyed mentoring law students over the years. For a long time, even before AAC. We had a minority mentorship program at the law school, and I was one of the co-chairs for that for a long, long time. And now it's so rewarding to see many of those mentees also to be seasoned practitioners who now also have the opportunity to mentor the next generation of lawyers. And many of them are now involved with the AAC. So I think this is a continuation of a pathway that I encountered from the very first time that I decided to attend Fordham Law School all the way through my career. And to this day, I think that is a great thread, and AAC continues to be an important part of that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with Fordham. I live in Connecticut and work in New York City, but I took it on to be one of the presidents of the Connecticut chapter, which was great. I did it at a time when Dean Matthew Diller was at Fordham. He happened to be my civil procedure professor, so that was really nice to see him on those occasions. We actually honored my brother Bill not once but twice from the Connecticut chapter, and he did notably say that the most recent time we gave him an award, that the Connecticut chapter is actually what he feels closest to, and it's the only Fordham chapter right now because he's relocated to Georgia. But that was really fun. I did an introduction one year, and then he came and spoke the second year, and just to see the room filled with Fordham alumni over the spanning so many of the generations was very rewarding and fulfilling. And Bill also received the Denny Chin Award given by APALSA, the student association, and that was really an incredible award. And in typical style, I invited our parents and like extended family to see him get that award, but to receive an award with one of our most well-respected alumni is really just to be at the table was quite an incredible accomplishment. Um, and Bill's basically, he said through the minority mentoring program, he's always encouraged me to, really keep a steady hand and be involved with the law school alumni community and whether it's the formal AAC related initiatives or just really informally nowadays responding to emails or LinkedIn requests for students to just do a 20-minute informational interview and spend the time. I'm always willing to do that. And I always think it's really important to be able to respond to those requests.
Yeah, absolutely. Julie, you mentioned your parents and inviting them to these events. I know that they're proud. Uh, and it sounds like it's a family full of successful siblings. But for the two of you, just share some color on your career paths, right? And the things that I'm sure your parents are proud of. So forgive me for asking a three-part question, but answer it however you feel. What elements of your practice have each of you enjoyed the most? What lessons have you learned over the course of your journeys? Are there shared values from your upbringing that you see reflected in your careers?
I think for me, law school is very different in many ways from what I was used to. So I was a science major at the University of Pennsylvania. So my training was to find the correct answer, whether it was in organic chemistry or in neuroscience. When I attended law school, my first year of law school was actually a bit of a challenge because I had to reshape the way that I analyzed issues, and I had to come up with different types of solutions that were appropriate for the situations that were at hand. So, in many ways, this is also reflective of my own career since law school, and I've had to learn how to pivot and to take on new challenges that are not necessarily linear pathways. I've worked at law firms, I've worked at a variety of companies, all in different industries, regulated, unregulated companies, and environments that also had different cultures. And I think it's the flexibility, the adaptability, and the willingness to embrace new challenges that has served me well in my career. And I think that's just part of the journey that many immigrant families, as Julie mentioned, is that's what's necessary in order to be successful. And I think with the AAC and with Fordham, for me, it is critically important to help talk to other people and to help other people who also have that type of journey and may not have the support system and mentors that maybe some other members of the Fordham Law community have to be able to have those sounding boards. For my career, at this point, I lead a fairly large team of legal professionals situated all around the world. And similar to what I do with Fordham, the best part of my job is actually on helping people with career development opportunities and to provide them with the tools, experience, and resources that will enable them to also be contributors to the legal community and to also pass that on going forward.
I don't know how I'm going to top that, but I guess I'll just embellish a little. So, um, I think Bill's right. He comes from a scientific background, but I grew up obviously in a family of doctors, and he and our brother were biology majors. So I thought I was going to take that pre-med path and organic chemistry made me rethink that path very quickly. But it's the same idea of growing up in that environment of scientists, right? The technical, the disciplined approach to just studying and tackling whatever life throws at you, I think has been a very deliberate way that I chose, I would say, the most technical aspect of law school that there is, like understanding the tax law and the Internal Revenue Code and the implications of that. To me, I use some of my math skills in law school, and I've been able to build a career path where, as a trust and estates lawyer, I'm using those technical elements, but also collaborating with advisors and attorneys from all over the country to do a blend of strategy and service, really helping families and individuals and foundations. And it's very rewarding in terms of what I do on a day-to-day basis. And like Bill, I worked at a law firm in New York City. I worked at a couple law firms in Connecticut, and then came on the in-house path. And I do spend most of my day actually focusing on, at this point in my career, mentoring and helping the younger generation of attorneys, whether it's attorneys who I work with and collaborate with on a daily basis, or whether it's through the various bar associations that I'm affiliated with, the Connecticut Asian Pacific American Bar Association, the Asian American Bar Association of New York. I helped found both of their trust and estates committees. The National Asian Pacific American Bar Association, 10 years ago, helped find the Trust and Estates Committee there, and just being prepared and engaged and enabling and building a pipeline so that I can retire one day, but know that this practice area is going to be filled with other practitioners who look like me and could continue the tradition of working in that field and being successful. I think that, a couple things that I've learned over time, right? And I think it came from our parents, right? And the upbringing is build that community, even if you have to start from scratch. Really hardworking work ethics. And it sounds really simplistic, but always return a phone call for the end of the day, or acknowledge that you received the message, even if you don't have the answer to the question. I think we had two phones in our house growing up, two phone lines, and one was our father's um, hospital line for the patients for his private practice, and the other was the casual family line. But if the yellow phone rang in the kitchen, it was important. And we grew up listening to our father saying, if that yellow phone rings, we got to pick it up. And I think that sort of ethos has also continued in my legal practice, or just on my day to day, is that if someone calls, just say, I got your message. And, I just need I need time, but I'll get back to you. And I think that's really important. Um, I think it's been really important also to build genuinely meaningful, lasting relationships over time, because I've called upon law school classmates of mine who I may not have spoken to for 10 or 15 years, but like Bill said earlier, they pick up the phone when I call, even if it's on a discrete matter that I know nothing about. I know that I can call them. Um, and that's basically, what's been important to me. Those are the lessons that I've learned. Also, I don't know if I said this, but um, never underestimate the impact of saying thank you, and whether that's um, a handwritten note or a phone call after the meeting, whatever that is. To me personally and professionally, I found that to be something that is always kept me engaged with that person, and I convey that message to all of my summer interns and summer associates and mentees. Never underestimate just taking that extra 2 steps to just say thank you. That was really helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Really great, thoughtful answers from you both. Bill, you mentioned what I will rephrase as a mentorship tree, in a sense, where you've now seen folks that you've mentored become mentors themselves. Julie, you just mentioned building a pipeline, whether it's through the various bar associations. Um, and I think you both have mentioned just wanting to connect with Fordham folks as a whole. Now, for the people who haven't had the opportunity to be part of your mentorship tree or the pipelines that you've built, what advice would you give to these folks, especially the younger attorneys of color, as they navigate their careers? How can they maintain a sense of community and connectivity with other attorneys of color? And, I guess for the both of you, since we do have siblings here, has your own sibling bond informed your approach to community?
I think for me, community and networks are so important, and that students and young lawyers really do need to seek out mentors. You really do need that support group that you can have as a sounding board and also a safe place to discuss issues that maybe not everyone can understand or relate to. I think those are really valuable traits. And AAC, of course, is one of those places where we have so many individuals who really want to help, right? So please take advantage of that resource. It is something that's super valuable for young lawyers and for students. And talking about students, I think, AAC, it's the Alumni Association, Alumni um, Attorneys of Color, right? So we have the word alumni there. In some respects, that's sort of the end of a journey. And for me, I also think it's important for us to um, address the beginning of a journey. One of the things that I actually enjoy doing every year, and probably for the last probably more than 6 years, because I've been in Atlanta for 6 years now. So probably close to 8 or 9 years, is I actually speak to the pre-law symposium class at the undergraduate Fordham campus up at Rose Hill. These days, since I'm in Atlanta, I actually hop on an airplane. I go from LaGuardia up to Rose Hill, and I speak to a couple of hundred pre-law students there. And I think just being in front of them and giving them some sort of idea of what you can do with a law degree, or what different types of lawyers do during the course of their day, or how they use their experiences at Fordham Law School, and some of the benefits of being part of that RAM family. For me to deliver those messages is really rewarding. And then on occasion, when I come back to mentor some of the new 1Ls that are at Fordham Law School, and they tell me, "Oh, Bill, I remember you spoke to our group up at Rose Hill," and sort of to close that entire circle for me, I think is one of the parts of the journey that ultimately leads to a place like AAC. But the beginning of that journey for me is also important.
Yeah.
I'll just add that sometimes mentors aren't always obvious to you. Like you can have informal mentors, and mentors change over time, and mentors serve different purposes. But it is really important to build a network of mentors around you, and of from all different disciplines. As I said, they serve a different purpose. Sometimes you just want to feed an idea off somebody. Sometimes you just need a technique. Uh, I think it's important to become comfortable about networking. And I really think joining an affinity group is your first experience. It's such a welcome. First of all, if it's Fordham, it's welcoming, it's family, right? You can just show up at anything, Fordham, and people are like, oh, come on in, it's the family. But I think the affinity groups are an easy ask. I think the local bar associations are very easy. There's fellowships are very, very popular now with all of the local bar associations. If cost is an issue, there's opportunities. They want to build that pipeline to engage current law students as well as young lawyers to come in and then be part of committees, and then really to extend your learning, right, as a practicing lawyer from the classroom to the work in the field, and improving that and advocating. But I think it's really important just to put yourself out there, and just the hardest part is sending the first email or asking for the the call, the time. Look, if I said 20-minute informational interviews, if someone doesn't want to talk to you or give you 20 minutes in their schedule, you don't want to talk to them. So you start with 15 or 20 minutes, guaranteed it'll last 30 minutes, could go on to an hour. Or, at the end of that conversation, you don't have to be shy. You can say, is there anyone else who you think would be interesting to me? And I think just as you get accustomed to doing that more and more, it becomes more natural. And then over time, you all of a sudden you've built your own network. But I am a big proponent of joining those bar associations and the affinity groups. And obviously, having a sibling like my brother Bill, it's just a built-in family, right? We don't see each other because we live, hundreds of miles apart, but we make a point of committing to a couple times a year, getting together and just, paying attention to each other. Or when the phone rings, when I call him, it's important. When he calls me, it's important. Or when I send him a text message, I know that's something that's a call that I take. And that's just a natural course of being blessed, having a sibling, and having a great role model, obviously.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's a perfect segue to my last question, actually, which is, what's something about your sibling that the AAC community might appreciate knowing? And let's just keep it in the context of this feature. No embarrassing stories or anything.
All right. So I think first, I just want to reiterate something that Julie did mention earlier. I think that Fordham mantra of "in the service of others" is really what both of us try to believe and follow in doing the right thing and always trying to help those who do need it. I guess as far as this question on something about Julie
Mm.
that the AAC community may appreciate is there were actually two Julie Mins at
Oh,
Fordham Law School, and it caused a bit of confusion for my sister. Um, to make things even more confusing, the other Julie Min was on law review.
right. And I
And
just got the invitation to the law review dinner by email.
so
I literally last 2 weeks ago, and I forwarded it to Bill and said, Seriously?
So all this time has passed, and then, as she just mentioned, on occasion, she still gets correspondence from Fordham that's intended for her other namesake. So I just want everyone to understand how powerful AAC, Fordham Law School, all the experiences, the reputation of the school, the network that's out there, and from my perspective, even though my sister isn't the Julie Min who was on Law Review, my Julie Min has achieved the pinnacle of everything that she's strived for in both her professional and personal life. So I just want to stress once again the value of AAC and Fordham Law School.
Awesome.
Well, that was really nice. Um, so what do I need to know about my brother? Well, first of all, my brother, I think I mentioned it before, he does have a photographic memory. So when I was in law school and I was a night student the first year and I worked full time. It was probably the hardest year of my life, actually, working full time at Citibank and going to law school at night. And I eventually married a lawyer. Um, but neither my brother nor my now husband really explained to me the magnitude of law school and the volume of reading. It was all in English, but it was something so different from how I had prepared my undergrad education. And I remember studying and creating outlines, and I just gotten a laptop. I was one of two students in my section in my entire first year who had a laptop and taking notes with our laptop. And I called my brother and I said, "Oh, everybody has these, prepared canned outlines or black letter, the supplemental to the case books." And I said, "What are these things? I don't know what they are." And he says, "Oh, they're all in mom and dad's basement. I never use them because like I didn't need to use them. I just read the cases and then I would regurgitate to the professors." And I said, "Oh, well, that doesn't really help me very much. Thank you very much." I sort of have a photographic memory, but not exactly to the point where he's so amazing with that. And he was on the International Law Journal. But um, yeah, no, I mean, I'm so grateful to Bill because I applied when I did apply to the law school. I did apply to one law school, and I only applied to Fordham. And I intentionally applied to the evening program because he was able to tell me about the flexibility, and I was on a different path. But um, I'm part of the Fordham family because of my brother Bill, and I think he is actually one of your most giving, loyal alumni out there. He advocates, he supports, he gets on planes and comes round trip in one day to uh, to talk to students. I think that's pretty amazing. So I'm just grateful that my brother led me to Fordham, to Lincoln Center, and that we're able to share this, journey together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has certainly been this has been a pleasure. Uh,
Mm,
Thank you both for your time. I thank you both for all that you do for Fordham. I thank you both for giving us a little glimpse into the beyond the Fordham family into your family as well, and for all that you do for AAC and for Fordham Law. So thank you, Bill. Thank you, Julie, so much.
thank
Great.
you so
Thank you so
much.
much.